Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Maria. Welcome to Mosaic Maria, where I am in the kitchen today at 7:06, getting everything ready to go into my slow cooker, making a non-traditional pot roast. So what I'm using here is a today's special chuck steak. And I made sure to look for a chuck steak that has a good amount of fat through the middle. And it's a pretty good size. It's 1.5 pounds, almost 1.5 pounds. It was $8.99, marked down to almost $4, $3.98. So what I'm doing is I'm following a little bit of a recipe at Claudia Can Cook on YouTube, where she's kind of like Spanishing up her pot roast. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm using flavors that are Mediterranean Spanish. I'm using paprika, chili powder, cumin, oregano, and bay leaf. And you don't have to put the potato in. I don't think she did, but I am taking one russet potato with skin on. And I just got my cast iron pan, my medium cast iron pan, heated up on medium, because if I go any higher than that, it's going to be a runaway burner. I got 2 burners that are being replaced sometime this month. I've already sauteed up a stew chop. I've stew chopped an onion. What that means is I've taken 2 medium onions and I've cut them into quarters and then cut them into quarter one more time. So into 6 sections. So 4, 6. And then I had some of these little baby hybrid carrots, so I'm using them up. I ate one. I just want to get a brown on all sides. If you're using a slow cooker, pardon me while I eat. If you're using a slow cooker, you don't really have to cook all your vegetables ahead of time. It kind of goes against why you're doing it in the first place, but I'm going to give these a little bit of paprika. Not too much. A little, not a lot. And that's good. They already have salt and pepper. I've salted them. I didn't pepper them, but I will when they get in the slow cooker. If you don't have a slow cooker, you could do it all in a Dutch quart pan. Right? Just sear everything and then turn it down. Let it simmer all day. That's all you're doing. I'm going to move my potatoes off to the side. I'm going to stick my steak right in there. So what I have here is that chuck steak that is today's special. I've seasoned both sides with oregano, paprika, chili powder, and cumin. And that is going right in. I'm going to turn it up because I want to sear it. And these vegetables are going into my slow cooker. Just like that. And that's going to make a little bed of happening stuff. And I've got the flowers to my... You're going to put your meat right on top of here with your potatoes. You know, just judge by the size of your meat. And then I'm going to take the flowers to my celery. I'm going to put that right on top of there. And I'm going to do a little bit more paprika. And a little bit more oregano. And once I get the meat in there, I am going to use a little bit of oregano. Not too much, less is more. I'm going to pop a couple of bay leaves in there. And I am going to use chicken broth and beef broth. So it's turning really nice, and I want to get the sides, so I'm going to pick it up. If you wanted a gravy, you would just dredge that in a little bit of flour. I'm going to make my sauce right in that pan and pour it over it midway. So I used chili powder. I used oregano. I used paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and ground cumin. Okay. And if you had a larger, like a chuck roast, you would put more celery, more carrot, more, right? I don't believe Claudia did potato. You could use sweet potato. So the sauce she's making is kind of like a sweet sauce with chicken broth and beef broth in it. I want a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in mine. So I need Worcestershire, and she put a little brown sugar in hers. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I haven't decided. What else? So I need my chicken broth and my beef broth, which I set aside. So how many pounds are you? So it was $8.31. Chuck sirloin steak. Oh, 1 pound and 14 ounces. Not much. So I have here no salt chicken, no salt beef. 1 cup each. I'm going to do about 2 cups of liquid, and that's it. With a dash of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm also going to use a little bit of Worcestershire in my, we just want to sear it. We don't want to go crazy with it. So that's good. And all that's going to go in the slow cooker. Very simple. Well, what I would say is take your meat out ahead of time. And I just use a cookie sheet and I poke a bunch of holes with a fork. I let it sit out. I do wash my meat. I don't know if everyone does it, but I give it a quick rinse over something I'm going to throw out, and then I wash everything with, I sanitize everything. So you could just pour your little packets or whatever right in there. I'm doing beef because beef goes good with beef. If you have a little tomato paste or you have some tomatoes in your house you can get rid of, you can throw them in. That helps the flavor of a pot roast all the time, right? And I'm just going to use 2 cups of liquid. And I'm just going to, maybe 3. I'm going to use this as a measuring cup. I'm going to go crazy looking for my measuring stuff. All right, so we don't need an actual roast to make. You don't need to roast. And then I'm going to pick it up with my tongs and make sure I get the sides brown. Okay. Nice. And I'm going to use all that oil that's in there as my fat and the brown bits for a gravy I'm making. You want to get each side, so just kind of like push it into the, move your beef around. That beef moving. Yum. So when the sides look like that, you're good. All right. Stand that up. All sides are done. A little potatoes in there. Get them up on top here. You could do a butter bath with this. You could do a brown butter. If you didn't want to do a slow cooker, you could just throw this in the oven, in your cast iron pan or any oven pan that works, or a shallow baking pan. So I don't want my potatoes to get soaked with oil, so I'm going to just top them up here for now. I also don't want them to use up all my oil. I don't want to use any more oil. Oil is expensive. Like I said, you can go with butter. If you don't have butter, do margarine. Okay, it's a very budget-friendly meal if you get it on today's special. I'm going to let that keep cooking. And a sear usually isn't that long. But I know how my slow cooker and how my electricity works and everything, so I want to get a good brown on that. Alrighty then. So then I'm just going to put my liquid right in here. And I'll just judge it. I think I'll need a little more. But I'm going to remember that I'm going to be making a gravy to put in there. So, and I'm going to make a very little bit of gravy. And basically what Claudio is using is the same flavors: chili, cumin, brown sugar, flour, butter, or oil. So just a basic roux with a little extra chicken broth. So I'm going to use probably one more chicken broth, 1 cup of chicken or beef broth, but I'll use Goya or some of my beef cubes that I have. So that's good to go in the slow cooker just like that. I'm going to turn it off and I'll come right back and show you. Okay, so what I've added to the pan is a little tab of unsalted butter. So I have there my brown bits from my meat. And over here I've put my meat on top of my celery, onion, carrot, and my potatoes, which are really nicely seasoned. And that is 2 cups of chicken broth and beef broth. Over here I have 1 cup more of chicken broth that I just made. And I used low sodium Goya reduced chicken broth. So I'm just gonna let this get in there. And I'm just going really light on the amount of oil because I don't want a lot of gravy because that's going to make gravy on its own. So we want to do that. We're going to deglaze it with our cup. Just let that, I'm going to let it get a little brown because I want a brown sauce. I also am going to put some Worcestershire in this at the end. And I have a little dab of Worcestershire in the crock pot. So I've got this on low, and I'm just going with low because I know my oven, my stovetop is getting fixed. So I'm gonna level out. That's about 1.5. So I'm gonna do a little more. About almost a light 2 tablespoons. I don't want it to be a thick gravy, and I'm just gonna let this get into here. And it might seem like my oven is not doing anything right now. And, well, you're not cooking it, right? I'm on an electric stove, and all of my burners are going to get replaced this month. This one is kind of a no-go, and this one is a runaway hot one. So it's time to replace them, so they're all acting wonky. So that looks like the color I want for my gravy, but I'm going to darken it up with a little Worcestershire. I'm not going to go crazy with it because I don't like the taste of too much Worcestershire. But this is going to give that au kind of coloring we're looking for, right? Now, at this point, I'm going to put some garlic and onion in that because I want it to be a garlicky onion gravy. So you just start, and I'm not going to go crazy with the garlic here because powdered garlic is more potent than minced or cloves. And some people don't even think you should put the garlic in with your gravy, so it just depends. And a little bit of paprika. So I'm going to get the color of the gravy that I want there. I'm a weirdo when it comes to coloring food and tricking the palate. Sometimes you don't have to have all the spices in there just by playing with your colors. I make a really nice Spanish rice, and I don't always have a big old sofrito going. And just play with my colors to get it to the color you want. That would also be a nice gumbo color. So I'm just playing with my roux. Now, if you wanted this to be really darker, you could do a beef broth or cook it longer. You could brown your butter and just keep cooking it darker. And basically, a roux is just a bechamel that you keep adding to it, whatever you want. I'm going to wait till I see some actual bubbles happen in there. Where are you, bubbles? Okay, because I want to cook out the flour. And make sure that, that it's not raw tasting, even though it's going to get plenty of cooking in my slow cooker. These are great. I get them at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 now. And you can get all different sizes. They're really nice. So I would say that's a really good thing to get at the Dollar Tree. So I really want to start adding some liquid to this. And just let it go. So I won't stay on camera for all of this because it's just going to be a nice gravy. And at the end, I'm just going to put a little bit of brown sugar, not a lot. Like I think Claudia used a tablespoon. I'm probably going to use a teaspoon. And just keep it over your heat and keep whisking it. If you have any clumps, just keep whisking it. Smash it down. Whisk it again. More chicken broth. I'm going to let that cook. So the russet potato I got was $1.39. It was already baked. Ready to be baked. Wegmans. Because when I got there, they were out of everything. You could do a sweet potato if you wanted to really, get some good nutrients in it and sweeten it too. I guess it depends on how much you like beta carotene. Some people don't like carrot, sweet potato, pumpkin, and all that. And some people, it just doesn't agree with them, I guess. So I am making this video for a family member of mine. I'm going to be writing up a little cookbook, but I wanted you to see the basics of, if you have a nice piece of meat at home, cut up a potato, little carrot, onion, celery. Just get it in your pan with a little bit of oil, just a tablespoon. And just get it to where it's shimmering and soft. I'm going to let that cook till I can make like a figure 8 on my wooden spoon. Right? And I'm just going to pour it over there and turn it on. I'm going to start cooking this now. And I'm going to put this on high for 3.5 hours first. And then cut it down to low. See where I'm at. Because all my vegetables are cooked. My potatoes are partially cooked. So that's good. That's a good thing. All right. I saw somebody cooking doing this in an express crock pot, I think it was called. I think it was called that. Like an express slow cooker or a crock pot express or something. It was really cool because he was able to sear all of his vegetables and meat right in the crock pot and then just turn it on. So basically, that's what we're doing, but we're going from the stove to here. And again, I've seen this made where you don't even have to. You could just put your raw piece of meat and all your vegetables in with a little bit of liquid and let it go all day, and it would be fine. Okay, so it depends on how much time you have. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say 3.5 hours on high. And I'm probably just going to cut it down to low for another 3 hours later. And set it and forget it until then, right? Alrighty, why aren't you cooking? Because this burner doesn't cook. So I'm going to turn up the heat. And this is going to get put away. All my little spices. In between, I just wipe everything down, get everything done. This does need a little salt because I didn't salt it. I didn't pepper it. Just a little bit. And when I say a little, I mean a little. It already has pepper in it, but I didn't salt it.